Another college football regular season has come and gone, but bowl games and the playoffs are right around the corner. Things have gotten a lot more interesting with coaches finding new homes left and right. Welcome to Penn State Sports Night. I'm your host, Brady Welsh, joined by Sawyer, Bogaty, and Kenzie, Farrey. And on this segment, we will be talking about the college football coaching hires that have happened and continue to happen. As the saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. And our first coach we'll be talking about slammed the Ole Miss door shut so hard that it shattered. In a very controversial move, Lane Kiffin abruptly left Ole Miss to become the head coach of the LSU Tigers. Sawyer, we're going to start with you. What are your thoughts on Kiffin's unexpected departure?
Yeah, well, look, before we start talking about Lane Kiffin itself, it feels like this is really the death of Ole Miss football. They weren't a great program before Kiffin came along. Then he did, and they were really, really excellent for the past 4 or 5 years. But now it feels like they're going to kind of go back to being that punching bag of the SEC, like some of the other teams at the bottom. But as for Kiffin himself, look, it's one of the worst ways I've ever seen a coach leave a team. To do it in the middle of the season when your team's about to be probably a 5 or 6 seed in the playoffs, and to try to take the entire coaching staff with you and really just light Ole Miss on fire and walk away as it's burning, it's wrong. And it shouldn't have played out the way it did. And I feel bad for the players, but it's really just it's almost a snake move from Lane Kiffin. But what can you expect? He's done this before with Tennessee, so what can you expect?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, in the past 2 decades, he's been at NFL, SEC, Pac-12, and even Conference USA. And every time it seems like he's kind of left a little, shady. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, as for Ole Miss, he led them to their first ever 11-win season this season after beating Mississippi State. And then literally the next day, you just go and leave. And, now they're in their first college football playoff appearance ever. And I just feel bad for them. I feel like without your head coach, I mean, I know they still got coaches, but he's taking everybody, and I feel like it's just a rocky way to try to get into that end of season bump to continue your success.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to fathom why he would do this. He has everything in Oxford right now. Yeah. He has the players. Trinidad Chambliss has looked great. Kawan Lacey's one of the best running backs in the country, and he's 19 years old. I just don't understand. I get Ole Miss. I mean, I get LSU. They have the NIL money. They've got more resources, and that's obvious. And I think anybody would agree that LSU does have more resources than Ole Miss. It's not. I feel like it's the wrong move. But I do think Ole Miss did a good job of controlling the damage. Athletic director Keith Carter, he was the one that said, "No, Lane, you're not going to coach us the rest of the season. You want to leave? Leave. Go to Baton Rouge and leave." They hired Pete Golding as the permanent head coach, not even the interim head coach, which I thought was a great move.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, look, I think Keith Carter did a really good job controlling the damage and kind of just making sure this program is still set up to at least attempt to succeed in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I agree with you both. That is honestly the worst way I've ever seen a coach leave his team. They're 11-1, probably going to go to the playoffs, and then you just abruptly leave and try to gut the entire team. That is an absolute snake move. But moving on, Tulane head coach John Summerall was announced as Florida's new head coach Sunday. What do you guys think of this hire for the Gators?
I mean, personally, I'm not a big fan of this hire. I think that there's better coaches, but I do think he will lead them to success. He's turned around Troy, he's turned around Tulane, and I do think he will lead the SEC and lead the Gators possibly to another championship. But I think there are other coaches also out there for the Gators.
Yeah, I actually am going to disagree with you here. I actually really did like this hire of Summerall. Look, 42-11 in 4 years at Tulane. That's pretty good, and it's not like a conference like the Sun Belt or Conference USA. This is the AAC. This is a decent conference that has decent teams year in and year out. Memphis was pretty solid this year. Obviously, Tulane was pretty good this year. So I actually really like this hire, and I think he's going to succeed at Florida. But yeah, I'm going to disagree here. I do think the hire of Summerall, it was the right one to make. The only other option there for Florida, maybe Bob Chesney, but as you see, he's now at UCLA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, Sawyer. I do like this hire for Florida. Tulane has been ranked a few times under him, so getting a program like Tulane ranked is a pretty big accomplishment, and I think Summerall is going to succeed in Florida. But the last coach we are covering today is Alex Golesh, making the jump from South Florida to the SEC, becoming the 33rd head coach in Auburn history. What do you guys think about this hire for the Tigers?
Yeah, so I don't love this one for Auburn. It is a step up from Hugh Freeze, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know if it was the right move. 25-13 in 3 seasons at USF, that's not great. I understand he was 9-3 this year. He had wins over what were at the time ranked Boise State and ranked Florida teams, but I just don't think it's the right move for a team like Auburn. I don't think Alex Golesh can coach in the SEC. I don't think he's primed for that. Yeah, USF has had a little bit of success, but they haven't, and they actually held, the metaphorical group of 5 college football playoff spot midway through the season before dropping a couple games. I just don't think it's the right move, and I think, like I said, there are better options. Bob Chesney was available for both of these teams. He didn't sign with UCLA until after John Summerall and Alex Golesh both went to their respective teams. So I think that was the right move for either one of these teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you said, I mean, he does have experience in the SEC as an offensive coordinator for Tennessee, but I agree. I just don't think he's going to have that experience. I think it will be a slight step up for Auburn, but it's still not going to be the success that Auburn is searching for.
Yeah, I honestly I don't think it's a home run hire. It's more of a doubles hire in baseball terms. But you look at Golesh, and I mean, you look at South Florida, what they did this year, and honestly, they started off hot and then kind of just tailed off, like losing to Navy after you beat a then-ranked Boise State, a then-ranked Florida. That's not a good look at all.
Yeah, well, that's my worry here for Golesh, right? He couldn't beat those decent American Conference teams. How's he going to go beat the powerhouses in the SEC? How is he going to go beat the LSUs, the Alabamas? I don't know. Only time will tell. But yeah, just almost, it's not a lateral move for Auburn. It's definitely a step up, but it's not that slam dunk that they were looking for.
Yeah. That is unfortunately all the time we have here tonight. As the college football coaching carousel continues to run, we can expect many more big hires to take place later this week. Of course, Penn State remains without a head coach, and it will be exciting to see who will be donning the headset for the Nittany Lions. For Sawyer, Bogaty, and Kenzie Farrey, I'm Brady Welsh. Have a great rest of your week, and remember, we're only 3 weeks away from Christmas.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.